I want to take this time to direct your attention to this post on the Real Housewives Zone. Now, this is an IG story from Angie Katznavigus. I think I pronounced that right. I might have pronounced it wrong. My apologies, Miss Angie lady, for butchering your name. That was not my intention. My intention is actually to draw attention to her posts. Let's talk about these posts real quick because it really feeds into the story that we're about to tell. So she posted, "When your fake bag is real, and so are you." And so And if you've been watching this season of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, then you will know that, Angie K is very much Team Lisa Barlow. And Angie K is very much not Team Jen Shah. So here she is posted in a photo by the fake label Gucci bag. Now, for those of you guys who are up on your designer, this is a part of their collection, the actual Gucci collection. And so someone who runs the account, I'm assuming the real Jen Shah, um, or someone, I don't know, who posted this at the laughing my A off at the placement of the fake bag next to fake AF Angie K. So I'm assuming Jen Shah posted that. And so Angie K then posts, "When your fake bag is real, and so are you," as an indication to the type of person that Jen Shah allegedly is. And so, as you guys can see, next to her is a photo of her and Lisa Barlow as they make their way to NYC for the taping of tomorrow's Real Housewives of Salt Lake City reunion. Because, as you know, some of these shows will tape their reunion shows in New York City. So that leads us into our story. And listen, we are definitely back with a story. And it's about Jen Shah. And it's about what happened when the feds came a knocking and they came getting those knockoff items. Okay. So, in order to give you guys a bit more detail, let's take things over to our friends over at the Queens of Bravo. Now, this story was posted in several places, and one of them was by TMZ. Now, it says, according to new legal docs obtained by TMZ, the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City star Jen Shah, was sitting on a treasure trove of knockoffs, including more than 30 counterfeit luxury bags and around 40 pieces of counterfeit luxury bling. Now, here's where things get interesting. When we think about counterfeit luxury bling, I think it's one thing for a lot of us to think about fake bags and, that sort of thing because, I think we all know somebody with a fake bag or something like that, a knockoff bag or whatever. But when you start getting into the idea of the fake luxury bling, I mean, why not just buy some costume jewelry? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's the safer bet at this point. But it says that Jen's counterfeit collection included knockoff bags from designers like Chanel, Balenciaga, Hermes, Louis Vuitton, Valentino, Gucci, Jimmy Choo, and Fendi, mostly made in China. In my mind, I'm like, a lot of these things are made in China anyway. They just slapped the real logo on it. But I digress. It says Jen's fake jewelry included pieces claimed to be designed by Bulgari, Chanel, Cartier, Louis Vuitton, Dior, Gucci, Hermes, and Tiffany and Co. So these weren't costume jewelry pieces. These were pieces that were labeled as the designer jewelry of the same make and model. Wow. It says the Fed seized all of Jen knockoffs, Jen's knockoffs when they raided her home back in March of 2021 as part of an investigation into her fraud case. I'm assuming much of this is not to be was not mentioned in the earlier information about what she had, what they had maybe, gotten when they seized her or raided her home. Um I'm laughing at one of the comments. It says, as part of Jen pleading guilty to conspiracy to commit wire fraud, she was ordered to forfeit 6.5 million to help pay up to 9.5 million in restitution, and the feds have now released the inventory of items. So these items will be used to pay restitution. Those counterfeit items definitely will not be going a long way towards paying for that restitution. Let me let you know that. It says the list does also include legitimate designer purchases and jewelry such as bling from castmate Meredith Marks' company. That will hopefully put a dent in what she owes. See, the argument, listen, there is some shade there in the article, okay? That I don't even know that they had to be that shady about that. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, it says seems Uncle Sam knows how to spot a knockoff. Why they put this slot right here? Anyway, you can see Tamara Judge in the comments saying, I'm sure she will call the feds liars as well. I think Tamara had said something about how Jen Shah had stormed into her hotel room and stole some of her alcohol, which I have to let you know, Jen Shah did deny, from my understanding. All right. So if you guys are interested in taking a look at some of those designer goods and some of those counterfeit knockoff designer goods, then you guys can head over to our friends over at I Live for Bravo, because here they have posted tons and tons of items that were seized. And again, you can see here, great, designer bags that are actually real. I mean, so she was doing a high and low, high end and low end. She was definitely mixing her fashions. Okay. I'm not, I'm not, I'm not gonna knock that hustle per se, um, as much as I'm knocking her actual hustle. Um, I'm trying not to really judge, all of these counterfeit items. But what I will say is this, being on this show and coming onto the scene and initially presenting herself to be far wealthier than what she maybe actually was, with funds that were gotten through um seemingly sinister methods, wherein the elderly were being, frauded out of their money and then pleading guilty to that. That's a little bit problematic for me because, I kind of felt like even when we first started the season, before the season started, I remember hearing stories about Jen Shah, specifically coming from someone from Real Housewives of Dallas, that someone from the show would be renting their home. Now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with renting your home. Let me just first say that because I want people to not to understand what the issue is here for me. But I think the issue comes in where you are presenting yourself as someone who, is capable of spending $80,000 on a party for Meredith Marks on in the first episode, and is constantly dressed and decked out in designer head to toe. Okay. Head to toe. And so then you just can't even accurately articulate your job description and the dynamics of your day-to-day work, I have to raise a side eye at you. I do. And I've always felt like I've had this side eye for Jen Shah because what I don't like on my reality TV shows is I don't like someone who is, listen, if you rich and you got it like that, I'm all about it. Okay. It was one of the reasons why I think so many of us fell in love with Robin because when she came on the show, she was never pretending to be something that she was not. She was very honest about her financial situation, and it endeared many of us to her because we could relate to it in some way, shape, or form. Jen Shah was presenting an unrelatable lifestyle with 50,000 assistants, with tons of just chaos, swirling around her, then continuously proclaiming her innocence after these charges were brought down on her, and only to plead guilty ultimately for a sentencing that will be coming very, very soon, and now heading to a reunion from another tumultuous season where she will now have to defend herself, especially embarrassing as these new items of counterfeit bags and rings have come to light from the raid that came about in 2021, as these items will now be used for restitution. Okay. Um yeah. That's a lot to process. And so, in closing, okay, my closing argument is this. For future housewives and future reality TV stars, it might be best to just present the lifestyle that you currently actually live, because the audience will be able to see through anything else. The audience is smart. The audience is smart enough to understand when something doesn't make sense, when the math isn't mathing, they will solve that math equation, okay? And so it would just behoove you to present whatever your actual reality is, because I guarantee you, your actual reality will be a lot more interesting than the one you are trying to make up.